TESOL methods, changing tracks and challenging trends. This article traces major trends on TESOL methods in the past 15 years. It focuses on TESOL professions, evolving perspectives on language teaching methods in terms of three perceptible ways. A. From communicative language teaching to task-based language teaching. B. From method-based pedagogy to post-method-based pedagogy. From systemic discovery to critical discourse. We have to remember that these methods are not totally replaced by the other. It is also very important to know that this article is about method analysis and not teaching practice, okay? On this video, we'll be talking about A. From communicative to task-based language teaching. The communicative approach emphasizes that teaching must be guided by freedom of choice and authentic interactions world alike. Do you remember how CLT is like? Here's a video so you can remember how CLT works.
The communicative approach, communicative language teaching, or CLT for short, differs from previous teaching approaches as it doesn't set out a set method of structuring lessons. Instead, the communicative approach provides a theory of how languages are best learned and makes suggestions based on this theory on how languages should be taught and which activities work best. It also differs from previous approaches as it realizes the need to teach learners how to use the language, as well as teaching the language itself. It's all well and good knowing loads of words and how to form grammatical structures, but we also need to be aware of register, the formality of the language we use. The language we use with our friends and family isn't always appropriate in other situations. We must also be aware of language functions. It's easy to identify the function of this question, to offer a beer, and Sue's response, accepting the beer. But the way we use English isn't always so clear. Once again, this person uses language to offer a beer, but Bob's response could cause confusion to language learners, as its function, to refuse the offer, is less obvious. Misunderstanding language function can hinder effective communication, and is partly why this scene from Forrest Gump amuses us. Task 1. What does the communicative approach say learners need to achieve communicative competence? The communicative approach says learners need language knowledge and knowledge of how to use the language to achieve communicative competence. Look at these images. What do they show? Image A shows language being translated. Image B shows language being used. Communicative language teaching is based on the idea that learners best learn a language when they're actively using it. Task 3. Which activity creates purposeful communication? How can this help students learn? Activity B provides meaningful communication. This can help students learn because it's learner-centered and it has a real-life purpose. The communicative approach believes learners benefit most from activities that provide meaningful communication. And so direct practice is given in speaking, listening, reading and writing skills. And importance is given to learners' personal experiences, which are used alongside authentic materials in class. Task 4. What do these images show? Which image shows learners involved in communication? Both images show a teacher and students. Image B shows learners involved in communication. Communicative language teaching casts teachers in the role of facilitators. When a teacher has the role of facilitator, they have moved away from the traditional approach to teaching and teachers being the instructor. When the role of the teacher is that of facilitator of learning, the teacher is involved in leading discussions, asking questions which may not have a correct answer, and guiding students throughout their learning. So, to recap, the communicative approach says for effective communication we need to know both the language itself and how to use it. Learners best learn a language when they actively use it. Learners benefit most from activities that provide meaningful communication. Teachers are facilitators rather than instructors. And classroom activities aim to create meaningful communication so that learners are able to use their additional language in unrehearsed contexts in real life.
You may think CLT is a perfect method, but today we are here to make you think a little further. CLT ways of teaching are much more interesting than traditional ways. On CLT method, we will have genuine conversation and teach students in a practical form, right? Wrong. This article shows us another side of the story. People from all around the world have interesting studies about it. Studies from Korea, China, Canada, America, India, and so on shows that even when trying to follow CLT, teachers continue to use or even adapt the traditional way of teaching. So, these studies bring to light different perspectives of how CLT can be implemented on diverse situations. The thing is that CLT by itself does not incorporate social-cultural differences. What guides us to TBLT, task-based language teaching. On this method, communicative approach will become task approach. The tasks on this method have to be in a way that the students can process language pragmatically, using their own vocabulary and linguistic resources to do it, which will be guided by the teacher, of course. Other than that, it is crucial that the tasks are world alike. It is very important to say that TBLT does not have a specific method. The teacher must choose what is the most suitable task for each situation and context, socially adapting everything. The tasks can be language-centered, which focus on linguistic aspects, learner-centered, which focus on the formal and functional ways of the language, grammar-centered, and learning-centered tasks that focuses on negotiation, interpretations, and expression of meaning. Despite every variation, in a general way, the tasks must have clear purpose. The teachers commonly follow some steps to make the tasks successful. They are usually pre-task, task, and feedback. Pre-task, which the students brainstorm and learn new vocabulary for the activity they're doing it. The task can be divided in a few more steps if the teacher thinks it's necessary. And it's the step that the kids actually do the task. And feedback, when the teachers give some comments about the activity. During the task, the teacher must monitor the students, support them with their doubts, and collect information through the feedback. And this way, through the task, the students and teachers will make a great work together. Do you think that's okay? Do you agree with that? Leave the comments down here.